Imagine for a moment Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins zooming to the moon on a Saturn V rocket built by Americans, financed by Americans, and orchestrated by a country providing such an opportunity, and then all three astronauts insisting the American flag be removed from both the side of the capsule and the arm of their spacesuits when the very country represented by that symbol built the rocket and the capsule that took them to the moon, never mind the spacesuits keeping them alive on the lunar surface. It would be considered preposterous. So why is U.S. soccer national team star Megan Rapinoe's Old Glory rebuttal any different? It's not. In case you don't know, Megan Rapinoe has followed in Colin Kaepernick's kneecaps and gotten down in the sucky position as a sign of protest during the playing of our national anthem. She says she's protesting injustice, which is perfect for me because I'm sick and tired of not being able to buy a wide selection of ambidextrous handguns for southpaws like myself. Like Kaepernick, Rapinoe wants to be a social justice warrior because we're in real short supply of those at the moment, but doesn't want to put enough skin in the game to actually make a difference, to actually be taken seriously, to have her grievances be heard. Were she so serious about her causes she's yet to explain in words other than general trigger word snowflake nonsense, she'd insist on not playing for the national team at all. If you're too ashamed to stand for the anthem, why aren't you too ashamed to play for the country symbolized by that anthem and the flag it references? Wouldn't that make an even larger statement? After all, the larger the symbolic move, the louder the voice. She'd also insist on not cashing her national team and World Cup paychecks either. Rapinoe wants to make a scene, but she has no interest dedicating herself completely to the cause. She wants to do just enough to draw attention to herself, but not enough to give something up in the process. Reminds me of folks that fight pressure cooker bombs with hashtags and rainbow avatars. They don't really want to do anything about the problem. They just want to feel better about themselves. They want to feel like, well, at least I did something. I feel the same way when I choke a brownie in the morning. The different circumstances between Colin Kaepernick and Megan Rapinoe are important to consider. Kaepernick plays for a company run by managers and executives and CEOs and presidents. It's kind of like working for Microsoft, only Kaepernick throws a football instead of pushes keystrokes. He's perfectly within his right to take a knee and not stand for the national anthem. The First Amendment is incredibly broad, and that's a good thing. It's not there to protect majority opinion because majority opinion doesn't need protection. But the 49er organization as a company also has the right to tell Kaepernick you either stand for the anthem or you're out of a job. Business has equally broad powers to exercise their own freedom of speech and grow their product based on ideals shared within the company. That's for both Kaepernick and the 49er organization to hatch out. Let's look at another example. Suppose you work for Chris World TV and are headed to Las Vegas with your boss, me, for a convention. You're a keynote speaker and it's an important speech, a speech our company depends on, an opportunity to put Chris World TV's best foot forward. And as an employee of Chris World TV, you represent the brand and everything it stands for, which frightening, I know, but on the morning of the convention, you tell me you've decided not to wear the Chris World TV company shirt because you disagree with my employee lunch policy. Now, it's your right to choose not to wear the company shirt, but it's also my right to tell you to pack your bags and go home because you're as done as fried chicken. Free speech does not mean free from consequences. The beauty of being allowed to do and say pretty much anything you want is that others can do the same thing and call you a giant, pretentious, hypocritical jerk for it. You might even lose a job over it. In Rapinoe's case, if she wants to protest the national anthem and her club team allows it, that's the club's prerogative. We may disagree with it, we may not like it, we may think they are communists, but ultimately the decision lies with the suits in the front office that decides what message best markets their product. And we, as fellow citizens and consumers, can respond to that decision with the same freedom of speech. We might even respond with our own wallets, which is the loudest speech there is. When Megan Rapinoe is suiting up for the national team, however, she's swimming in a different pond. No longer is she beholden to her agent, her club contract, the ticket office, the manager, the public relations team that weighs both sides of the scale and decides how far she can push everyone's buttons. As both an Olympian and a member of the U.S. national soccer team in international friendlies and the World Cup, Rapinoe represents more than herself, her teammates, or U.S. soccer. She is serving her country, much like a rifleman serves the U.S. Marines. She doesn't just represent the best of America, but represents the darker parts, just like a Marine that stands and salutes the flag in spite of his or her specific grievances. Just because you play for your country doesn't mean you endorse everything your country has to offer. Look around, folks, we've got problems. But every rifleman in the U.S. Marines doesn't agree with every mission or every commander-in-chief either. but you agreed to serve your country and set your own agenda aside for the luxury of wearing the nation's colors. That's the trade. And when you suit up for America, you give up your right to put your baggage first. You certainly wouldn't want to put a player on the field that has serious reservations about her own commitment to put the country before herself. Who's to say she might not sandbag her play as another defining protest? You can't risk that. By agreeing to be on the team at all, you are endorsing both the flag and the anthem. And if the flag or the anthem, or both, are so onerous to your personal convictions, then you shouldn't be out there. You shouldn't be profiting both financially and socially from the very machine that provides you such a platform to protest the platform. Have some balls, Megan. If you got something to say it. But don't prostitute our colors when representing our colors. If you want to speak out, do it on Megan Rapinoe's time. She still has the right to take a knee during the national anthem when playing for the United States. But the United States has the right, and perhaps the obligation, to tell her she cannot and will not represent her country if those are her true feelings. And every paycheck will be withheld until she decides to stand and honor America. And until that time, if that time ever comes, I will exercise my First Amendment right to deadpan her First Amendment choice to be an asshole.